Good morning, my dear students. Today I will continue the chapter metals and non-metals. Metals and non-metals. Okay. So last day we have discussed different properties. Okay, that means physical properties of metals. Today we will show you some activity. Okay, because in your book there is some activities there, so that activity I will show. Okay, so first activity. That metals are lustrous. Okay. Now, if you think about any non-metal, suppose this is non-metal, whether it is lustrous, no. I am showing another non-metal. Okay, it is made of plastic. Okay, you see this. Whether it is lustrous, no. But that means lustrous means there is no shiny appearance. Okay, when light is there, light is falling here, there is no shiny appearance. But whenever I am taking this bottle, okay, that means this is a steel bottle. Here you see in the light, okay, when light is falling on this bottle, okay, it has some shiny appearance. Hope you can understand. So you will observe that these steel bottles, okay, shines, but this plastic container cap, okay, it is not shiny. So it proves that metals are lustrous. Okay, any other metal, suppose this knife is made of iron. Okay, so you see this is shining on light. Okay, whether this is shining. Okay, so from here you can easily understand that metals are lustrous. Next one, I will tell you about that another activity, that metals are sonorous. That means whenever you will strike a metal with a hard object, okay, definitely a sound will be produced. Suppose I am taking this glass, okay, and here I am striking with a spoon, okay, the hard subject. So that means a sound is producing, okay. So you are getting one sound, okay. So that means it is sonorous. In your school we are using different types of bells, okay. That is mainly a alloy, that is bell metal we are using, okay, for producing sound. But if you take this polymer, okay, this is mainly made of non-metal. Here when I am striking with this spoon, there is no sound. Sound is coming, but not such metallic sound is coming. Okay, that means it is not sonorous. Okay, hope you can understand what I explained here. Okay, so whenever you will beat a metal, you will able to hear a specific sound. Okay, so from here you can understand that metals are sonorous. Next, I will show you that another activity, that is metals are hard. Okay, suppose if I take this glass and if we rub this knife on it, okay, whether it is able to cut, no. Okay, but if you take any kind of non-metal, okay, we can take any plastic or this thing, okay, and here this bottle, okay, here this container, if you place this knife, okay, here you see it is cutting this plastic, okay, I will not cut, okay, it will damage this cap. Okay, so that means metals are hard, okay, and non-metals are not so hard, they are generally soft. Hope you can understand. Another activity I will show, that metals are good conductors of electricity. Metals are good conductor of electricity. For this thing you need some battery, okay, you need a bulb, okay, and some copper wire is required, okay, and different types of objects are required, okay. As these are not here, I'll draw the circuit and try to explain, okay, you try to understand. So what we have to do, we have to take a battery first. Suppose this is your battery. You can take pencil battery also, no problem. Now you have to take some copper wire in this way, you have to make one circuit, and here you have to put one bulb. You can use LED bulb, okay. Okay. And then here you will keep that object. Suppose first time I am taking some wire made up of aluminium. This aluminium wire. And here is some switch is there. Switch. This one is the battery. Now we are connecting with this copper wire. So this one is the aluminium wire. So what you will observe? This bulb will glow, okay, brightly when we are taking some aluminium wire. And if we replace this aluminium wire by taking some iron nail like this, if you are taking some iron nail, definitely it is also a metal. So this is a very good conductor of, like aluminium wire, it is also a good conductor of electricity, okay. So definitely the bulb will glow, okay, brightly. And if we replace this iron nail by some coal, piece of coal, that means it is made of carbon, okay, then what will happen? Okay, if we switch on here, okay, if we complete the circuit, then what will happen? The bulb will not glow, because carbon is a bad conductor of electricity, okay. But if you take graphite, that is the allotrope of carbon, okay. And some students are asking what is the structure of graphite. Graphites are some hexagonal layer like this. So between these two layers there is some gap. This is the structure of graphite, okay. So these are of nothing but carbon. Each corner, okay, carbon is situated and they are joined with a covalent bond or attached with a covalent bond, okay. And this graphite is a very good conductor of electricity because each carbon containing one unpaired electron, okay. And that is why graphite is a very good conductor. So if you place graphite rod, suppose if I am placing some graphite rod, definitely the bulb will glow, okay, brightly, okay. I think if you purchase this thing model you can do in your home, okay, no problem. All of you will try to make this model, and in live class you will try to show me, okay. From here you can easily understand whether the substance is a good conductor of electricity or bad conductor of electricity. If the substance is a good conductor of electricity or conductor of electricity, then bulb will glow, and if it is not a conductor or bad conductor, definitely the bulb will not glow, okay. Hope you can understand. So in this way we can understand the different properties of the metal. Next we will discuss another thing, that is the corrosion of metals. Okay. Now all of you know about corrosion, okay. If you keep a piece of iron on the open atmosphere or air, slowly it will corrode, okay, and a new brown type of compound will be formed, that is brown compound, that is called rust, okay. and the formula of this rust is Fe2O3 dot XH2. So this is called the corrosion, okay, of iron or iron surfaces. Okay. So similar way, if you think about aluminium also react with air, okay, and it will produce the aluminium oxide, Al2O3. Hope you can understand. And why it is forming oxide easily? Because it has high affinity for oxygen. Okay. Next, if you think about the copper metal also forms some green deposit. If you keep it for a long time in open atmosphere, okay, it will form some green deposit. Okay, and this green deposit is the basic copper carbonate. Okay, actually its formula will be Cu2OH2CO3. This is the formula of basic copper carbonate. On green residue or deposit you will get. When you take some lead metal, okay, and if you expose it the moist air, that means when where oxygen is present as well as moisture is present, okay, it will form a white deposits, okay, and it will form some lead carbonate. Basic lead carbonate will form. Okay, so here also basic lead carbonate means Pb OH whole twice CO3 like this. Okay, if lead is in the +4 condition. Okay, otherwise if it is in 2 condition, here you have to write 2. So this type of compound it will form. Next we will discuss about the another metal, that is the silver. Okay, if you keep some silver object in the open atmosphere for long time, after months or after years, okay, you will get some black appearance on the surface of the silver. That means black coating. And what is the black coating? It is nothing but silver sulfide, that is Ag2S. Okay, so in this way, okay, the metal will change, okay, into different compounds on the surface. Okay, and this is called the corrosion. So metals when exposed to the atmosphere, they will lose their properties, okay, because of this corrosion. Now especially we will discuss that rusting of iron. All of you know that if you keep a piece of iron metal for a long time, it will react with oxygen. Today I will show you the reaction. Okay, that iron is reacting with oxygen and water also required. It will form Fe2O3 dot XH2. This is the formula of rust. Okay, and here you have to put 2 here. If you put 2 here, twice Fe2O3, then here you have to put 3, and here if you put 4, now it is balanced. Okay, it is balanced chemical. So in this way iron, okay, will react with the oxygen present in air as well as moisture present in air, and slowly it will convert into rust. It is a reddish brown solid. This is called rust. Its color is reddish brown. Okay, now it is a oxide of iron, that you know, and definitely this is not so hard, okay, like iron metal. Okay, iron oxide is what type of compound? There is the ionic compound, but here water molecules are present. Okay, that XH2 is given, that are water of crystallization. Okay, and generally it is a flaky substance. Okay, and easily crumbles off from the surface of the metal, and again a new surface of iron will come out. Okay, and again what will happen? There will be rusting. Okay, in this way the total iron will convert into another compound. Its strength will be loses, and it is easily brittle. That means easily breakable. Okay, that the property of the iron metal will be lost. Hope you can understand. Next, one activity is there in your book, that if you take this rust, okay, and if you dissolve in water, all of you know that metal oxides are basic in nature. So if you dissolve this rust into water, definitely you will get some basic solution. And if you take some red litmus and if you dip into this solution, definitely you will get blue color. So from there you can conclude that that rust is basic in nature. Okay. Next we will discuss that condition for rusting. What condition is required? Mainly two things it is given in your book, that is, one is air and another is water. Okay, in air especially oxygen is required according to this reaction. Okay, so air and moisture are the necessary for rusting, and sometimes in air there may be some acidic gases like carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, or NO2 or sulfur trioxide, that will increase the rate of rusting of iron. Actually, rusting is a very slow process. Okay, even it can take more than 1 month, 2 months, or even 1 year also. Okay. Next, another activity I will tell you so that you can understand that what condition is necessary for rusting of iron. So in this case, you have to take 3 test tubes. There is test tube A, test tube B, and test tube C. Okay. Now, in each test tube, we have to take some fresh new iron nails. There is no rust. Okay. Okay. Now, in the first test tube, we have to pour or add some boiled water. Boiled water means there is no what? There is no oxygen or air is present. Okay, and you have to seal this test tube with a rubber band. Understand? So you have to use some rubber stopper, not band. Rubber stopper you have to use. Okay, and so that it will become airtight. And in the next test tube, what we have to take? We have to take some anhydrous calcium chloride. So here we are adding some anhydrous calcium chloride. This one is anhydrous CaCl2. And here we have added some boiled water. Okay. And then again you have to close this mouth, okay, properly by using a rubber band, by using a rubber stopper. Okay. Now, in another test tube C, okay, here we have to take normal water like tap water you can take and leave it open. Here you need not to close this thing. Okay. So here we are taking the tap water and we are not closing. Okay, because air will come. This tap water. Now, after few days, what you will observe? Okay, you will observe that in case of test tube A, okay, no rusting. There is no formation of rust on the surface of the iron. In test tube B, there is also no rusting. But in test tube C, there is rusting of iron. Okay. So this is your observation. Okay. So in the first test tube A, there was only water. In the second test tube B, we have used anhydrous calcium chloride. If any moisture is present here, it will absorb. So definitely there is no water, only oxygen is there. Okay, that means air is there. And in the test tube C, both water and oxygen is present. That means air is present. So from here you can easily understand that why test tube C get rusted. This is because they are in contact with both air, that means oxygen and water, and that is why the iron nail is rusted in the test tube C. Okay, and in case of A, there is no oxygen. Okay, it is boiled water. There is no air. Okay, inside this water. Okay, so because of absence of oxygen, there is no rust formation. And in test tube B, okay, as we have used here anhydrous calcium chloride, so there is no moisture, there is no water. So here also this prevents the rusting. Okay, so in this way we can easily prove that both air, that means oxygen, and water, okay, are necessary for rusting. Hope you can understand. So today up to this, and next day we will discuss how to prevent rusting, what steps we will take, okay, to prevent rusting. So today up to this, thank you.